On this video I'm going to address a current societal phenomenon which seems to have bled into the social media cyberspace we inhabit. As such, being a content creator, I feel compelled to address this issue with the gravity it deserves. While unequivocally denouncing all manifestations of racial prejudice across the demographic spectrum, this discourse will focus specifically on the sole form of discriminatory sentiment that appears to enjoy a high degree of societal tolerance online, namely anti-white sentiment. Regardless of backlash or allegations of ideological proximity to extremist factions I may receive due to possible topic overlap, I refuse to allow false accusations and potential repercussions to impede my pursuit of true equality, which is an essential element for our society to regulate itself. Moreover, guilt by association will not prevent me from fighting injustice. I do not hold extreme views of any form, and on this very platform I have debunked historical nonsense across the full political continuum, which is why people of all political persuasions are welcome here. Those who know me know that. Fighting the injustice that is societally accepted is the true bravery. If you speak against racism towards people of color and minorities, as you should, but are too afraid to speak against anti-white content because you don't want backlash, you are kneeling to the mob and you are no hero. True moral fortitude necessitates the confrontation of all forms of injustice, not merely those that engender minimal controversy. It is noteworthy that in the production of this content I initially intended to incorporate and critique racist digital media directed at various ethnic minorities too. However, given that such overt display of prejudice against minorities are generally met with swift censor by the system, unlike the more tolerated anti-white sentiment, even the mere inclusion of such content in the title would have risked the removal of this video. This disparity in treatment is in itself a matter of significant concern and proof of a mechanism of social control. It is crucial to recognize that extreme blind linguistic censorship not only stifles intellectual discourse, but also paradoxically impedes our ability to defend marginalized communities effectively. This video also stands as proof to those who say that such anti-white sentiment doesn't exist. Just watch and the gaslighting will disappear. Hence, I make this video for the sake of fighting all forms of toxicity equally for a clean and just digital ecosphere. Come here. There you are. There we go. Wow. What a beauty. Are you white? Are you a white supremacist? No, you're not. You're too nice. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Alright, let's check them out. Let's see what they have to say.
Controversial opinion, but if you have a token white and you're hanging out with your friend group of color, you need to ask permission from everybody in the group to bring your white friend. Like, don't just bring them. Ask for explicit permission from everyone. Because just because you're comfortable with them.
Right, so it needs to be an explicit permission, right? So without permission, don't you dare to bring a white person. It's gracious.
Doesn't mean that everybody's comfortable with them. I might
get it, but if you're comfortable with white people while you're not white, means you're a tolerant and open-minded person. If anyone in this group is instead not, oh, they don't want to see white people, I don't want to mingle with it, it means they're racist. And if you don't want to use the word racist, because technically dictionary, I'll talk about that on a dedicated video, but whatever, you don't want to use the word racist, okay, they're still horrible people if they are specifically excluding white people because they're white. But let's see, at least if she brings up some interest, some real points.
Might not be in the mood to deal with white shenanigans that day. That's all I'm saying. And another thing, it feeds into their ego. Like, don't let them think they're a good white person.
What? Don't let them think. Oh my gosh. Okay. You absolute idiot. IQ level 20. Let me spell it out for you. This is the sensible take. There are bad people and there are good people in all nations, countries, and ethnicities. Right? So, the fact that you're saying that basically there are no good white people, if you're saying that it feeds into the ego of white people, because now they're going to think that they're good. Yeah, if a good person is a good person, you absolute... Let's continue.
Don't give them that card to use against other people. Please don't do that.
What card? What card? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Right, next one.
Hi there. You must be new to my account. I say white.
Next one.
Hey, white ladies. Denying racism in your own self is violence.
Okay, so I can't... Basically, I just was being violent, I suppose, at the beginning of this video because I did deny... Oh, well, she's talking about ladies, I suppose. So maybe because I'm a man, it's okay. I highly doubt it. But yeah, so I was being violent.
You hurt the entire cause.
I don't understand though. She looks white to me. So she's white. Okay, so she's white, and she's saying that you're being violent by denying racism as a white lady. But she is a white lady, so she just stated she's racist. So, shouldn't she cancel herself?
By denying that you ever had a racist thought. I don't think that way.
Yeah, I've never had a racist thought in my life. Clip it. And I'll say it proudly.
I wasn't raised that way. That's not how I feel. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You don't have
I don't think... Please, go ahead.
to wear a hood and you don't have to tote around a fucking Confederate flag to know that there is shit inside of your brain that you need to fix.
I think you have got stuff in your brain that you need to fix if that's the way you look at people. People have a freedom to self-identify as non-racist, right? We all have the freedom to do that. And the extreme example you're giving of the KKK and their hoods, of course, it's the extreme example, but first of all, they don't even exist anymore. Second, you can tell with people's actions and with people's words. And yes, there are some people that are secretly racist and use pretend situations, like, for example, they'll attack a person of color and they'll use another like subsidiary reason to defend their attacks. But you can usually tell if it's done with hatred or if it's done on a different matter. Like, for example, no, they just disagreed with that person or they didn't like what that person said, but not because of the skin. The fact that you automatically make an attempt to force the fact that people should now consider themselves to be, regardless of where they're from, regardless of where they're brought up, that's insane. What do you know of the way how we are brought up, for example, in Europe? How do you know? Do you know how people think and how they're brought? No. So then don't speak for us. Don't speak for the way someone is brought up in Sicily. You don't know. Maybe where you are brought up, people tend to be racist. That's a possibility.
Or else you're still just perpetuating the problems of society.
And I don't believe it. It has to be hate farming. It has to be hate farming. There is no way that she seriously thinks that's not going to be hated on.
I get called a white savior because I can admit the shit that I do.
Isn't white savior something you should avoid? Isn't that one of the things that you brought against people? Like when white people try to be nice, it's white savior complex. When white people say they're not racist, no, you're actually racist, you're being violent. When white people are being hateful, then of course they're being hateful in reality. So it doesn't matter what you do as a white person. When you think this way, this is of course an extreme. This is an extreme. But I'm saying according to this person, it doesn't matter what you do. You have a problem, no matter what. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, there's women running around thinking that they've never, ever done anything in their life that could possibly even teeter on the edge of racism. Good luck with that delusion. I hope someday you realize that that's not the case and you can put aside your white fragility. And
actually, you seem to me extremely fragile as a person. This is a lot of projecting here. Obviously, not that I am a psychologist. I'd be interested actually to have this examined by a professional psychologist. But absolutely, there is insecurity, there is fragility, there is hatred, there is brainwash. I think she's been brainwashed by extreme propaganda to the point that now anything that is even remotely divergent from the way she thinks gets automatically her blood pressure up, which must be a horrible way to live, to be honest. I mean, the majority of my day, I'm happy. This person is angry for the majority of their day, and it must not be good for your health. Oh, gosh. My intelligence. I'm losing IQ points for you. I hope you appreciate that. Give me a like and subscribe. Yes, I'm guilt-tripping you.
Dear white women, listen. Your only play in this, if you value your life, is to shut the up.
No? Freedom of speech?
Listen exclusively to Black, brown, and indigenous women, femmes, and non-men.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we have what I like to call a black supremacist. Someone that believes that the oppression of their ancestors allows them to oppress people in the present.
Yeah, I gotta say, this guy yeah, nailed it.
Someone that believes that race is the end-all be-all.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what's interesting. I agree with this guy. And I'm so glad that in the comments in my community, I have so many black people that watch and they're so nice to me. I even met one at the airport the other day. He hugged me. He was very nice. But this type of person unfortunately exists, and I'm glad that he is calling her out for what it is. So I appreciate that. I respect him for it.
Someone that believes that their life revolves so much around the color of their skin that, like a symbiote, race takes over their entire being.
Very true. Very true. That's absolutely true. And I think it's wrong on any side. It's not all about race. It's not all about color. And absolutely, prejudice can come from both sides. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.
However, because of this, they gain some abilities or social power. And for all the people that don't believe that black supremacists exist, here's your proof.
Throw every resource you have and use your privilege to back us in every way.
But does she think it's gonna work? That's what I don't understand. Does she think that's gonna work, or is it just a way to get out her chest? I mean, I don't know what she went through in her life to become like this. What I see, unfortunately, is a person full of hate. And also, let me point this out. When you say white people, that's so weird, because I suppose she's putting in Americans, Germans, Italians, French. Why are you mad at someone in Luxembourg? What have they done to you? The only crime is lightness of their skin. And that says a lot about how you think.
First of all, are you trying to mind control them? Why are you talking like that? Second of all, this woman is the definition of irony. The fact that you can come on this platform and tell a skin color that if they want to live, they need to do and say everything that these other skin colors tell them to do and say, or else without your platform and your well-being.
Absolutely. I mean, he nailed it. You nailed it, mate. What's your name? The John Raid. Very nice guy. Go follow him.
Being stripped from this earth is mind-boggling to me. You brought up their privilege, yet you're executing yours right in front of our faces.
Very true.
That don't look like oppression to me. Looks like somebody holds the social power in this situation.
Yeah, I think the situation is that she gets away with it, so I have to agree with him. It's a different type of social power, historically, when we look at the sort of social power that white people had over black people, which is a historical fact, and I'm not going to try and deny it. I always state the facts how they are presented by history. With that being said, it still is, as he's pointing out, a type of social power, and it's unjust. The sense that she can say whatever she wants, and she gets away with it, because on social media, as we have just detailed, can you imagine if a white person that was also full of hate but towards black people posted a video that looked exactly like that? It would be deplatformed immediately. So it is a form of privilege in a way, but it's being used the wrong way. It is absolutely being used the wrong way, and it's just not unjust no matter how you look at it.
The freedoms we have now are because of our fight and struggle. Bet on black. Bet on brown. Bet on indigenous.
Yeah, this is really, it's doing a disservice towards black people and indigenous and all of that. Because imagine if someone's only experience or contact, that's not my case. I've been around black people my whole life. And so I know what they are like, and they're not like this. In my experience, in the majority of cases, it's a fringe. It's a loud minority. Imagine if someone's only experience, they never hang out with black people, but then they go on TikTok and they see something like this and they're white. What are they going to think? So you are achieving the exact opposite. You are pushing people to become racist. Not that it's a justification. Racism is horrible, but racism creates more racism. And it's the same way the other way around. The only way to stop racism for spreading is to block it from all sides and treat people equally and treat people fairly and treat people based on the contents of their character, not the color of their skin. That is the only way to defeat racism at a societal level. The only way.
To remind people that white supremacy is everywhere. Because in order for true equality to happen, white supremacy has to be dismantled.
Oh gosh, she's so annoying. So annoying. That is basically taking a word that is neutral and turning it into a slur. That's what she's trying to do. And if she did it only with white supremacy, I'd still find it annoying because it's just the sound that is annoying. I don't want to watch you pretending to be spitting. I'm not interested in that. But if she only did it with white supremacy, I'd be like, whatever. But if you do it with white, it automatically means that you are pretty much spitting onto the face of the entire group of people, the entire category. And that is despicable. Despicable.
And a lot of people are not even aware of their use of whiteness unless someone like me points it out by calling it white. In your case, you...
How does she have followers? I mean, 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds in, and I already want to uninstall everything, the entire app. I want to uninstall it. How does she have? Is it like a hate following, like one of those accounts that gets views to hate? Or does she actually have people that are like, yeah, you tell them? Oh my gosh, the type of people that she's probably getting. I wouldn't want to, oh my gosh.
As a white woman, telling an Asian woman how to speak on her account is a pretty white privileged mindset. Because I would have never thought to go to your account.
This is so strange because in my experience, I have lived in Asia for 4 years and I have never met a person like this. Every single Asian person that I've met, no matter what country they were from, were lovely, were very polite. Occasionally I had a couple of colleagues at work that weren't nice, but then again, it was a work thing. But the majority of people that I've met were so polite and so nice. This is like, if I say that? If I were Asian, this would annoy me even more because I would be like, don't you put me with you in the same category as you. Goodness gracious.
And say, hey, your face is really annoying. You should change your profile photo. I would never say that to you.
Well, you do worse. You do worse. I mean, yes, that would be kind of out of place. I mean, you can say it, but it would be stupid. But the fact that you keep doing that annoying sound, the person just commented that is annoying, and it is objectively annoying. So yeah, that's a critique that I think is very on point. I agree.
Like, that would have never crossed my mind. Like, who am I to tell you that? And you should have awareness of your actions. You as a white woman telling me how to speak is tone policing. And that's a behavior that's very common among...
So basically what you're doing, it's very manipulating. It's a very manipulative approach. But what you're doing, you want to tell people, don't you dare tell me how to speak. But probably people are not telling you how to speak. And that annoys you because you're expecting people, obviously white people, to be doing that, but they don't. No one is telling you how to speak. Maybe you even got some nice engagement before you started doing this. So you needed to create a pretext. In other words, you started acting out like this and mispronouncing the word on purpose because you knew it would have generated a response, so that then you can basically victim blaming, that's what you're doing, the people for having the response that you purposely caused by design. I see through you. It would be like me going up to a stranger and telling them, you're an idiot, and they tell me, don't you call me an idiot, and I'm like, don't you tell me what to say. It's
white women. You may have not intended that, but there are many white women who act exactly like you. So that's why I say white, to raise your awareness, because it's so ingrained in you, you may not realize it. And maybe next time when you're about to do the very same thing, my annoying white will ring in your ear.
Oh no, it won't stop you. It will cause this to happen 50 times fold multiplied by an exponential factor. That's what's going to happen. Because then people get fed up. I think they should completely ignore you. I'm never, ever going to watch anything you post ever again in my entire life. Don't want to have anything to do with the likes of you. Meaning, before people say, he's being racist. No, I love Asian people. I mean, this kind of mentality, this kind of person, she's poisonous inside, clearly. Oh, this is going to be a long day. Next one. Things I do for you. Next one.
My guy.
Hey.
So let's talk about where the word good morning originated from. Good morning. Alright, so during slavery times, when the women used to mourn about their child being taken away and sold to a different slave master, or if one of the family members did something that resulted into them getting whipped or killed, Most of these things used to happen in the evening time.
What? I'm sorry, but oh my gosh, I need to let her finish and then I'll tell you where the word good morning comes from an etymological perspective. Right, so I think I know where she's going with this.
When a child was sold off or somebody was getting whipped for something, the black women used to cry all night behind it. Not even just the women.
No, of course I'm not like, I don't want to dismiss the suffering that people that unfortunately had to do with slavery dealt with. I just don't think there is any linguistic connection to the word good morning at all. Like, nothing, completely. So, morning is not mourning this, right.
The black people in general, all the black slaves, male or female, when something happened to a family member.
So what happened before that? Like, before all of this, because imagine you're talking about the intercontinental slave trade and all of that. So before that, how did they say good morning? I imagine because there was no good morning because there was no morning, right? So I'm just trying to understand.
Or a close friend or anything, they used to cry all night behind it. And when the slaves used to cry about what happened all night long, the white slave masters, the oppressors, will wake up in the morning time.
It's really dangerous to call people oppressors. Now, given, I'm not saying that you shouldn't speak about the history, how it happened. Although then again, to speak about historical facts, you need to first study those historical facts, rather than probably repeating something you've heard another TikToker say. So you see, TikTok does not amount to research. TikTok is not research. But absolutely, talking about slaves and slave owners and all the things they did, absolutely, slavery in general is a topic that I'm always in favor of speaking about, precisely because it was a horrible thing. Although then again, slavery existed before the Europeans did it, and slavery was part of, unfortunately, every civilization in the world, wherever, regardless of the skin tone. And it's something that should be condemned, and it's great that we have made slavery illegal. With that being said, though, you're making up facts, not only from a linguistic standpoint. Here's how history is done. You mention something, and then you say who said it, right? Oftentimes I talk about it. Wegetius said this, and then I say it. Or Plutarch said this, and then I say it. If you don't do that, you're just repeating a story you heard from someone else, and I don't believe it's a credible source. Why? Because also your linguistic one clearly has no source whatsoever. I don't know how much more of this I can watch, to be honest. It's a pretty long one. I think I'm going to stop it halfway through.
And they'll tell the slaves, did you have a good morning? Basically, did you have a good cry out?
No, I can't have that. Sorry. That's the origin of good morning. What was before that? Bonjour? Buongiorno. What about buongiorno? Guten Morgen? What about guten Morgen? Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Next one.
White people do not have an overarching culture. If you were to say that, like, if you were a specific white ethnicity and you only want to date within your ethnicity, that's different because that's for cultural reasons. But if you're white saying you only want to date white people, that's incredibly suspicious to me, and you should check your racial biases.
Hold on a minute. So, if a white person just wants to date white people, I mean, anyone is free to date whoever they want. If I have a son or a daughter and they tell me, hey dad, I want to date this white chick, I'll be like, please go ahead. And if they tell me, hey, I want to date this black chick, black girl, Asian girl, I wouldn't be there. I don't know. Did you check your racial background? What about people of color? No, they choose who they want to date. And then I'll tell them, tell me about this person. Tell me about them. I won't be like, I don't know though, because you gotta have your inclusivity boxes. I'm not happy that your last two girlfriends or your last two boyfriends were white. What about black people? I mean, maybe she didn't meet or he didn't meet a person that belongs to that specific group that they felt a connection with. And if they do, that's great. If they don't, oh gosh, these people. Why do you have to make everything racist when the people who are obsessed with race is you? This is the insanity of this. It's the delusion of the fact that the people that are speaking against racism are the ones that are obsessed with race in the first place. Next.
It's not even noon yet, but we're going to get into another episode of Are You White?
Yes.
Or are you fucking white?
No.
This is a great example.
No. I'm not. Oh no, not her. Not her again.
This is a great example of why you can never get too comfortable with white people. Because it didn't start out bad, right? In fact, some could even say this is a compliment. Getting with the program. Complicated, because you didn't come up with it? Funky on my fucking favorite? What is that? You're white!
This sort of behavior actually creates more racism, and it's a horrible thing. And at the end of the day, it's not good for anyone, and it's spreading poison. Driving division is precisely what this kind of stuff is, and I'm also starting to think that that's why this sort of stuff is allowed at the moment. I could be wrong. Of course, I'm not into conspiracies, any data and facts to present. This is just a little hinge that I'm starting to have as I look at this. I could be entirely wrong, but I'm just saying I think division is precisely what these sort of TikToks are creating, and what this sort of approach is creating. And in a way, it's kind of trying to distance people as much as possible so that they can be then separated in two groups, and then these two groups can be managed more easily. I mean, at the end of the day, this doesn't come from me. It comes from the book Propaganda by Brunet, and makes sense. That's why it's considered permissible, but I don't think that it's right that, as he says, that the opposite wouldn't fly. Not that I want to see the opposite. I don't want to see any of this sort of stuff. No one is forcing you to be around white people if you hate white people so much. And even more so, why making content about it? I think that's the worst part. Oh no, the comments are so bad. Once again, even in the comments, and I get comments like that. Yeah, the ugly white people lips. If that's not racist, I don't know what is. But the thing is that the way it appears to be, and honestly, I do feel very gaslit now with the people telling me this doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. We just saw it together, and I think it's despicable, it's disgusting, not only that these people do it, but also that then the public as a whole, people are trying to gaslit us into thinking, oh no, it's not happening. I think we just proved it. It is happening, and it's a horrible thing, and I condemn it. 100%. Here's the thing about me. I absolutely hate racism in all of its forms. It's just one of the things that it's deeply rooted within me. I think it's really wrong to judge people, mistreat people, say hateful things towards people because of the color of their skin, because of their ethnicity, and the way they look. Now, when it comes to social media and the way we experience it in our day and age, when it comes to all sorts of platforms, I want to say that the majority of actual racist stuff that you would say against black people, against brown people, against Asians, and all sorts of different ethnicities, it's generally speaking not only frowned upon, but, it's not a thing that we tolerate. And I think rightly so. It is absolutely wrong to do that. And yet, being hateful towards white people tends to get a pass on social media. Now, whenever I say this, that it's wrong to be hateful and say horrible things towards white people because they're white. When I say it's wrong, it's a bad thing, people tell me, oh, it's not a thing. It's in your head. It doesn't happen. That's what I sometimes get in the comments, both on Twitter and on YouTube. Now, another thing I really dislike is gaslighting. I hate gaslighters, and I very much dislike being gaslit. Okay, anyways, I think I've seen enough, and I am absolutely convinced that indeed people that hate white people absolutely exist, and unfortunately they have a space on social media. And so it's important, I think, to show it, because it's the only way. It's the only way to get rid of racism and to get rid of disparities in the way we treat other people, is to condemn every single form. So absolutely do send me, usually on Twitter, that's when I get them, or on X, do send me TikToks that you find that do the opposite. If you find TikToks that are being disparaging, insulting and racist towards black people, towards Asian people, towards brown people, any sort of people, feel free to send them to me. I'll be more than happy to react and condemn them too. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. And of course, feel free to send any, for example, historically incorrect TikToks, so we kind of focus on history rather than talking about race or social situations next time. And then I'll make absolutely those videos too. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.